Happy brunch. Happy brunch. Happy brunch. Hello, everyone. Hi. Everybody hear me okay? Is the sound okay? Let me check all of the device. We must check the device. Let us go ahead and improve that. We want to get good quality. Yes, everything has to be done a particular way. Is that nice, or do you want it to go brighter? Yeah, it's a little too bright. Okay, we'll keep it that way. Anything else I need to know? Oh, yes, we're checking the audio. Hello. Oh, the audio is perfect. Lovely. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I love you. And gosh darn it, is it good to see you all. You look ravishing. Oh my God, let me take a look at you. Energetically, I'm picking up on lots of divine consciousness. Yes. A lot of divine consciousness, a little bit of trouble over there. Love it. Okay. Well, Joel Tilson is here. Joel, do you need to? Why don't you go ahead and send me your email, Joel, so that I can send you a link to the show in case you want to be connected, so you can be connected to my. This is something I should have asked you to do 2 years ago. Yeah, so maybe we'll have Joel in the green room from now on, because I kept wanting to say Savannah Guthrie, and I kept saying Samantha. You know how you're tired. And I didn't have Joel in my ear saying Savannah, right? Because my floor director isn't in my ear. So I think the solution, or maybe we'll figure it out, is that I've got to have some way for him to pipe when I say something wrong. That is the purpose of the floor director, to make sure you don't vomit all over the floor. Yes. If you want to, that would be great, Joel, if you want to, for the Taco Tuesday show. Be a little bit more involved. We might be able to make that happen. Also, I'm wondering if Joel should probably make a profession of this. He should probably be floor director for more than one channel, since this seems to be what he's doing for a living these days. All right, you guys. So where are you? Where are you coming from? What you eating? What you drinking? There's 449 gorgeous spirits that are in attendance. My beautiful friend, Kay Travel Tarot, can tell you all about life in Europe. She has moved to Europe, and maybe she can tell us, should we stay in the United States or forget it? Quit it and forget it. She is in beautiful Albania right now. Beautiful Albania. Denmark is now offering immigration to Americans who are feeling overworked and underappreciated. If you are tech savvy and looking for a job, and you only want to work 35 days a week, and you're looking at possibly getting help with your relocation, check out the new immigration coming out of Denmark. Also, there are opportunities in Ireland and Holland. The Netherlands is now opening up for digital nomads. Lots of digital nomads in Thailand. Much more affordable. You know, the thing is when you leave the United States, you start to realize how expensive the United States is. $500 a month for health insurance for one person, when you only have to pay, $100 a month if I move to France, right? So Chuck and I are going to be going on vacation. We're going to be taking the show on the road sometime in April or May. You guys get to decide, and you get to decide where we go. So Chucky Poo is probably off doing something else. I don't think Chucky Poo is watching the show right now. But where should Chucky Poo and Whimsy go. We don't know, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna take the show on the road. We're looking at either France, Paris, and the south of France. We'll visit the south of France, or we will do Quebec, because I saw a video on the food experience and the ice fishing and all the cool stuff that's going on in Quebec, French Quebec, and then we would probably fly into Montreal. I think spend a little time in Montreal and then go to Quebec. So it's either spend a little time in Paris, try a little food in Paris. This will be my 5th trip to Paris. It'll be Chuck's 3rd or 4th, I don't know. Whereas we have never been to Quebec. But supposedly the pubs and the music, and I think that might be nice for us to broadcast from a pub or something. But maybe you guys have different ideas. I'm like, you know what? The reason why we were thinking Quebec is because you have something which is called Old Quebec City. And this idea of going back to colonial France, that they've preserved these old colonial immigration from France, and to be able to try the food. The menus probably have remained similar. They haven't changed the menu. The pubs are a few hundred years old, and you're basically walking into colonial France. The architecture, the food, the style, the music. And I think that Quebec is one of those places that we are close to as Americans, but we underappreciate. And it's a place I've never been. I've never been to Quebec, and I've flown into Montreal a couple times. And I'm becoming increasingly curious. I'm Israeli American, and Egypt is definitely something I want to do in the future. Close and yet so far. I've been to Sinai, I've been to many parts, but Egypt is not really stable right now. So travel to Egypt is iffy. They're like on the verge of revolution in Egypt right now. It's a very tense situation. Yeah. April, May, summer, there wouldn't be ice fishing. And since I'm probably going to get too cold to go do the ice fishing, but what I did see recently is I saw Anthony Bourdain in Quebec, and he voted it the best food of all of his travels. What did he vote number 1 was Old Quebec City for the best food, music, overall ambiance. If you're going to get some good, going to a nice bistro and you want to experience that old, he basically number 1 was for food, according to Anthony Bourdain, is Quebec. So if you are a foodie, and I am, then I would recommend Quebec. But the problem is I also am not going to eat stuff where the animal was tortured, right? So I'm not going to be trying the foie gras. I'm not going to be trying the pad thai. Unless it's humane, like I know they got the new vegan pad thai. So that limits you, because he was eating grilled pate, grilled with some blood dripping, or I don't know, all this crazy stuff, thymus gland. These are things we don't eat in the United States. And so I just thought, well, I'm not a vegetarian, but I get a little weird with mammals. I'm starting to get kind of weird with mammals, higher consciousness, like I'm sticking to, but you can have a great coq au vin if you eat chicken, right? I'm curious. You know what? It's whatever Chuck wants. This is kind of my gift to Chuck, because Chuck has been a loyal employee for almost 10 years now, and I wanted to do something special, take him on a trip. So if he says that he would rather do Quebec City and visit old-time colonial Quebec because he's done Paris, or if he says, I can never get tired. By the way, the price is the same. The flight and hotel is going to be the same cost whether we go to Paris or Quebec. Yeah. The only difference is that you might have a shorter flight time. Oh, Chuck said Paris. You guys already asked him? Okay, fine. It'll be Paris. So that would be 5 days in Paris we'll be doing, and then we are taking the train to Nice and the south of France. That is the second plan. Well, somebody stands by you through thick and thin, 10 years, loyal employee, never a sick day. And I know there were a couple days he was sick. You want to do something special for an employee like that, right? All right. So how is everybody? Where are you coming from? What you eating? What you drinking? Is everybody excited about everything that's going on in the world? Oh my God. I barely know where to start with all the remote views and everything we need to be talking about. And I'm going to go ahead and answer your guys' questions about the remote views. Then we are going to do the Impaz prayer. And then I will give you guys a collective reading. And then we will blitz away. Excuse me, I have to grab something here for you guys. I have a little something for you. Okay. As you know, my beloveds, beautiful, gorgeous spirits that you are, you're hiding. I know what you're doing. You're hiding from the Super Bowl. That's what you're doing. No. Listen, we got a Book of the Month club. We are here to promote independent writers and books. So this month, Chuck and I have selected Cat Coach, Rainbow Weather, Stories of Beautiful Cork, Ireland, Western Ireland. Yes, the beautiful, beautiful rainbow weather that you get out there. So that is Cat Coach. Hopefully she'll be in our studios in another, I think it's going to be 2 weeks. We're going to probably have to pre-record because she is in South Africa right now. But these are short stories. That's what Chuck and I really love about this book. So you can read 1 or 2 and then go to sleep and then just really enjoy each story right before you go to bed. Particularly wonderful if you just love Ireland as much as I know many of you do. This will be a book that will bring you great happiness. I know it has brought happiness to me. I truly enjoy this book. And I love it gets you to think little things that you might not be thinking otherwise if you didn't read the book. Hi, Jean, you're in the Facebook. You're at the Canadian border. Oh, my goodness. By the way, how is everybody's weather? I know many of you are freezing. We're going to talk a little bit about that. As many of you know, I've been doing remote views where I try to go forward. I'm sorry to say, speaking of French Quebec, Canada, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, you are about to experience one of the worst freezes in recorded history. And I'm feeling like that's going to start to hit you 3rd week of February. So unfortunately, parts of the Northeast will be affected as that area turns into like a brittle, icy toothpick. Expect things to be extremely dry. Expect things to be extremely cold. My apologies to Ontario. My apologies to Quebec, to Nova Scotia. They get the winds on top. I mean, like, I can't imagine even surviving in Nova Scotia, that type of weather, if you didn't have adequate shelter and heat. So please take care of yourself. Evidently, it's 15 degrees now in Staten Island. Well, it's now the 8th, and I had predicted that it was going to get really bad between now and the 17th. Now, the other thing is that the 17th hails in. We're now about to begin Chinese New Year's. Chinese New Year's. Won't that be fun? So one of the things that we learn when we look at Chinese astrology is we think about what life must have been like living in Asia if you had a little plot and you started doing a little farming somewhere in the jungle, right? You got a little jungle farm like in Indonesia or India or China, right? So you would learn the various different relationships between the animals. The monkey would come to visit and it would steal the food of the humans, and that would make you annoyed with the monkeys, right? You would know the relationship between a horse and the rats. You would know that the horse is stomping on the rats because the rat is taking the horse's oats, right? You would know that the dog and the sheep sleep together and they get along okay. They're not competing for food because the dog doesn't eat oats, right? So you would start to experience what life was like on the farm and the relationships. Predatory birds fall under the category of dragons. Do y'all know that? Yeah, predatory birds. So the dragon energy is like the predator. But the great thing about the dragon is that he sees, he has a 360, like the hawk. The hawk has that dragon energy. Fire hawk, right? Comes down and takes what it needs, right? So everything in the ecosystem of Chinese astrology has a purpose on the farm, right? And when we think about this time, we're thinking about a 60-year cycle, right? You have 12 signs and you have 5 elements. I always think 4, but it's 5 elements: fire, water, air, earth, metal, right? Well, actually, metal is air, excuse me. So it's let me do this again. It's wood, fire, earth, metal, water. There you go. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm awake. Gotta have my coffee. So every 12 years we get a horse, but every 60 years we get a fire horse, where the element is fire and it's a horse. So horse is associated with rapid change. It gallops, right? We talked about that. So whatever the horse is bringing, so the horse is perceived of as an energy that is coming rapidly. Does that make sense? And then the element that the horse carries is the message. Do you see that? Does that help? So when we're looking at this imagery of the fire horse, it is coming rapidly with a message. All right. So that is how you have to think about the months that are coming, this time. And usually the message is a message of rapid change and war, which is why the fire horse, when he's coming with that fire energy, this is also associated with the wood horse, by the way. Wood feeds fire. The reason why this is associated with war is because it's overseen by Sun and Mars, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. But fire is also associated with purification. So we see a lot of exposing, we see a lot of purification, we see a lot of stuff coming to the light, the burning off of the impurities and exposure. Now we're seeing all this. By the way, this hasn't even shown up yet. This doesn't happen. I think it doesn't change until the 17th. So we're just now hearing the hooves. They talk about this idea also that when a sign is transitioning, I think we're leaving the snake is leaving, and the horse is coming, right? I can't imagine those two signs would get along because the horse would probably try and stomp on the snake. So probably those two signs don't get along, but the snake leaves, the horse comes, and that leads me to think that when that energy comes in, it's like the pounding of the hoofs, right? You got that energy happening where it's like we got to give you something dramatic to go with. Your life starts to get a little bit of disruption, some public embarrassments, things that you didn't want people to find out about, dirty little family secrets, right? So then you get this like a, right? Or as Oprah Winfrey likes to say, the whisper that becomes a shout. Now we're like at this point, right? All this Epstein stuff is coming out now that he was meeting with Peter Thiel. They were doing cryptocurrency. They were having meetings at the hotel and then setting up massage tables so that everybody there could get a massage from an underage person and then be filmed. So they were blackmailing people left and right, right? All this sun energy. So you have this kind of like, right? That's, whoa, I'm getting really disrupted by this. That is, I know, I apologize for that, but it was dramatic, right? So what do we take away from this, pilgrims? What do we take away from this experience? Do tell, do tell, do tell. What is the fire horse teaching us? Just trying to lighten things up. That was rather dramatic, so I'm trying to bring things down. Yeah, so basically things are getting exposed and people, I think the big horror for a lot of us is that so many people have been blackmailed. So many people were involved in cryptocurrency. So many were involved in hiding money in foreign accounts, etc. And the degree to which Vladimir Putin was involved. The thing that is scary for me, because I'm a dual citizen with the state of Israel, is that Putin took Israel first, right? So Putin took Israel, Putin took Venezuela, he took Brazil for a while. And part of how he did it was by getting in with their intelligence agencies, right? So Israel was easy because 1 million Russians moved to Israel, right? Many of them not Jewish. They lied on their documents to get citizenship, right? So then we wound up with all these Russian criminals escaping prisons, etc., wound up settling, and they brought human trafficking. We had a human trafficking problem in Tel Aviv, brought in by criminals from the former Soviet Union, right? And they also started getting jobs, and many of them had advanced educations. They got hired to do intelligence for the Israeli government. So at that point, Israel became compromised. So Israel fell, basically, to Putin and the Russians. And it's no surprise that MAGA took off, because Israel started off a leftist, liberal, it was going to be this integration process, right? Nobody was going to oppress anybody. You had Jewish and non-Jewish Palestinians were part of that movement. It was really about the Bolsheviks. And what we see with Mamdani is the echo of that, right? Mamdani is talking like an old timer, like, well, back in the day when we had Palestine and we were all living together on the kibbutz and the communes and making love, not war, right? So Mamdani is the echo of what Israel was supposed to be, and now they're attacking him because, hey, I'm just talking like an old time Israeli Palestinian from 100 years ago, right? Golda Meir's people, right? So because it was this idea of democratic socialism and unity and liberalism and equality, right? So that is how far removed the dream went from what it was originally supposed to be, so that Bernie Sanders and Mamdani became the enemy, right? Because the country fell to this MAGA right-wing Christians, of course, plan on taking Israel and making it a Christian nation, right? And any Jew or Muslim or anybody that doesn't go along with it is probably going to have a hard time, right? Because so when you look at what is happening in the Middle East with these smaller countries, you can see that Putin was trying to take small countries, and then now he's taking the United States with these compromised people. But what's scary with what's coming out now with the Epstein tapes is that Epstein was a part of that, those blackmail, and it got traced back to Putin as Putin took one country after another. Yeah, Britain as well. You know, what's interesting, the other thing I wanted to mention, and I've talked a little bit about it, but I want to emphasize it again, has to do with remote views that we had done on the British royal family. Does anybody remember any of the remote viewing I did on the British royal family? And specifically, what I saw when I went into the energy of the British royal family was their relationship, their long history of relationship with Russia. Anybody know about this? I have to put up our charity. I forgot. Hold on a second. Anybody know about Queen Victoria's relationship with the royal family and why the royal family would have a long history with Russia? So you had members of the royal family that were borrowing money that was being traced back to Russia through people like Peter Thiel, people that had been, compromised in some way or another. So the money got traced back to Deutsche Bank and to Russian assets, right? Hold on a second. Just want to make sure I've got this. Okay, save. All right, I'm back. All right, so our charity, I just put up our charity if you would like to donate. If you would like to donate to our charity, we are Old Dogs. Old Dogs, this is a shelter for senior dogs who have been abandoned or in need of medical attention. So all dogs deserve good home. Senior Dogs is out of Florida, and they take dogs who are senior with medical needs so that they can live out their last puppy years in happiness and comfort. So if any part of today's reading gives you any joy, think about donating to Old Dogs. And all of the money raised on Sundays is donated to charity. So we thank you for that. So what I felt when I went into the energy, going back to the story of the royal family, and Thomas Kingston was involved in financial dealings. He committed suicide. He was investing people's money. He was an investor. And I think what happened for a lot of royals is that they were economically desperate. They were economically desperate because they had these huge estates, but once taxation happened, once socialism took over, they were being wiped out financially. And so they had these massive estates being abandoned, right? People didn't have any money. So what you have is you have titles. You have a lot of titled aristocrats that are broke. And so what Russia did is Russia offered to give them a little money. These broke aristocrats who spend more money. Who needs a little money? Who needs a little help? Come on. Victoria was Russian. Let's give you a little love from Russia with love. So who did they start? Who it was linked back to taking money? Sarah Ferguson, right? Andrew, possibly. They were taking money from Epstein. So now we have a situation where not only was Putin toppling countries by by taking over countries like Israel, Venezuela, Brazil, now the United States, but also Britain by getting in and blackmailing members of the royal family with kiddie porn pictures, but also loans that members of the royal family couldn't pay back. And I don't know how Thomas Kingston is linked to this, but something tells me that Thomas Kingston is somehow linked to this, because when you Google Thomas Kingston to find out what he did for a living, what did he do for a living? What did Thomas Kingston do for a living? what is it going to say? It says that he was the financier and director at Devonport Capital, specializing in financing for frontier economies. Before his career in finance, he worked in the Foreign Office as a hostage negotiator in Iraq. He had a financial career, chartered financial analyst and director at Devonport Capital, and he engaged in diplomatic work. So then the next question you have to ask yourself is, did Devonport Capital somehow wind up in a Ponzi scheme, or somehow, through no fault of his own? He might have been completely innocent, by the way. We're not saying he's guilty of anything. But could he have been conned or tricked or somehow wound up in the middle of these financial schemes that were going on in Russia? And is that one of the things? He was on antidepressants. He got off his antidepressants. Lots of people get off their antidepressants and don't commit suicide. So, and why was he on the depressants in the first place? So it doesn't really answer the question. My feeling was that something had happened, with Thomas Kingston and his company, and that it was linked back to possible money that could not be paid back, and I think that there were reports of him getting into a fight with somebody, and that the royals were fighting prior to some kind of an event. I think it had something to do with finance, financial investments, corruption, and people that couldn't pay back loans. And I'm surprised there hasn't been more of an investigation into that. Okay, so I think what we're going to do now is we'll probably do the empath prayer. If people want to receive a healing, we can certainly pray for you and include you as we bring in the empath prayer. People had asked me about Savannah Gunther. I kept saying Samantha. Sorry about that. Oops. I'm missing something here. When they had talked about her being taken, possibly, we're talking about now Nancy Guthrie. I have to just get another thing that I forgot. Excuse me. All right, so what did I pick up on Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie? I picked up that it was 3 males, white, that 2 of the males appeared to be related, possibly brothers, that it had something to do with construction or home repair, that they were local, that they had been involved in previous crimes, possibly break-ins in the area, that they came from that area. I did not see the cartel, some drama where the cartel put her in the back of some banner and took her off to Mexico. I didn't see that. If that's what happened, I was way off, because what I saw was local criminals. In terms of what the FBI was doing when they went back to the house, I felt, when I put myself in the shoes of the investigative team, that I wanted to look through her statements, Nancy Guthrie's statements. I wanted to look at any bills she may have paid, or any deliveries that might have occurred, or any correspondence that may have happened via emails. So we would be looking at her church, anybody in the church that may have known her, any troublemakers, or any troubled family or troubled youth. People at the local mall where there's grocery shopping that might know about Savannah Guthrie's mom, etc. So they're looking at her activities, the people that talk to her, but they are also confiscating her computer, her laptop, and they're looking at Did she pay a bill? If she paid a bill for construction on the home and something that would have given people access to the property, knowledge of the property, knowledge that she was living alone, and knowledge that they had a way of getting access into the home. So that is how I felt, that it had been scoped, that it had something to do with some type of construction or something to do with the house, that this was a new area, that more homes were going up, that these were troubled youth that had been hanging out in that area since they were kids, making trouble, that they were white, not Hispanic, that one of them was tall, thin, had brown hair that came to his shoulder, and they were brothers. I felt like they were like brothers. There were two of them, and then there was another guy, possibly the one driving the van, and that a rift had formed between the three men, and that they were worried that if she died, they were going to get murder charges. So they began fighting about what to do, and the weakest link is the guy that's not the brother. He wanted to go to the authorities or call in a tip. And he's the weakest link. And he was the one, they were talking about taking her, Nancy Guthrie, and dropping her off someplace public, like a bus stop by a mall, someplace public, leaving her there. And then when they were at a safe distance, calling the authorities and having them come get her. That's basically everything I saw. If I'm completely wrong, somebody had talked about a son-in-law being involved. I didn't see anything like that. I didn't see a son-in-law. I didn't see that it was family. I didn't see anything like that. It was local kids who were troublemakers. They have a history of being in trouble. The family, it's a family with problems. They'd been involved in petty crime and theft in the past. They were local. They were not part of some chain gang or and this was the biggest, they got into this, and that's what I got. In terms of predicting whether someone is alive or dead, it's in strict violation with what readers are allowed to do, and there's no reader that's allowed to, we're not allowed to do that. We can't tell you even if we had the ability to do that. So what we can say as readers is give you as much information we can on look, I could be completely off my rocker, but that was what I saw. And I train remote viewers. So if any of the other HCRV practitioners want to put themselves in the shoes of the perp, put yourself in the shoes of the cop, put yourself in the shoes, because we're HCRV practitioners, we put ourselves in the shoes of the other. So is there anything else I need to say to you about all of that? I just really, we have to pray for her. Hope she's going to be okay. Any new news come out yet? Yeah, it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Okay. I think my phone is set up. I can go ahead and get this set up. We're going to go ahead and do the empath prayer, and then we will give you guys a collective reading. Would you like that? I bet you would. I bet you would. I will never have an easy time with this. Okay. All right, there we go. Now it's perfect. Okay, am I still on? All right. If you would like to All right, if you would like to receive a healing at this time, go ahead and give us your name or the name of somebody you would like to us to pray for, and we will include them in our prayers today as we bring in the empath prayer. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all if you have donated to Old Friends. It is our charity today. We are raising money for senior dogs in need of care and love. So that is who we are donating to. All proceeds from today's goes to charity. Yes, thank you. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. For those of you today who are requesting a healing from the community, we come together as a community at this time and we pray for you. We pray for you and those you love. We pray that you receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. Yeah, praying for everyone who's suffering in the world. It's definitely our wish that we live in a kinder world. All right, let's give the collective reading. Thank you all for being here. It's an honor and a privilege to give you readings. Thank you. Be sure and subscribe if you aren't subscribed yet. It really helps us as we gently march towards 100,000. We are close to 95,000 subscribers. It's gotta hurt. It's so close, it hurts. We are so close and yet so far over here on YouTube. Thank you also to everybody over at Facebook and X. We're now at, I think, 21,000 subscribers over on our Facebook. So we thank you for that as well. Thank you, Mercy, Ingborg, and everybody else over at Facebook. Great to have you here. What is in your future? This is a smorgasbord, a collective consciousness, if you will, as Carl Jung likes to say. And so your message will be found in this reading. And if it doesn't speak to you, pass it down. Perhaps that dish is more pleasing to someone else. This is the collective. This is a time of great creativity. Spirit would like you to know that many of you are quite gifted. You have underestimated yourself as an artist. You have underestimated yourself as a creative person. And furthermore, you have underestimated the importance of your work as an artist. Because the truth of the matter is, what makes life worth living is art. Art is when you know you've arrived. It's that great movie. It's that great concert, right? It's that person that spent their life learning how to do something amazing to lift you up, to lift up other people, to make them feel better. You know, we were talking about Catherine O'Hara and Schitt's Creek and how they had this understanding that every time she went to film, she was always going to keep her energy high, 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 so that other people couldn't be depressed, right? This idea that the artist path is a noble path and that people's lives can be saved. I heard that there was somebody that became enlightened watching Lady Gaga on the Super Bowl halftime performance, right? He was depressed, he was LGBTQ, he was feeling maybe not accepted, rejected his whole life. And then he saw Lady Gaga perform on Super Bowl halftime, Born This Way, and the spell broke from his depression. And he had a spiritual awakening, and he realized that God had made him perfect as he was. And he came up off that couch that day, and he was enlightened. So you must never underestimate the power of your art. And you don't have a right to let the art go because it is your contribution to the world. You must honor your art. So the Empress comes to us to remind us that we are co-creators and that we have come into this world to bring beauty and goodness and love and art and creativity. Now, you pulled 2 major arcana cards for your week. This is a powerful week for you, and you must resist impatience, procrastination. Temperance comes to you also. It is a watch your diet. Watch your drinking, watch your eating, watch your smoking, and learn patience. Learn patience. But it is not for you to trivialize, minimize, discard, or debase yourself, or to underestimate the importance of your art, your ability to create. I used to feel that being a doctor wasn't being an artist, and now I've come to understand that healing is an art form. Yeah, like when I create an herbal formula for somebody, that's an art form. Has to be perfect, right? It has to be the perfect remedy. So there's an art to that. Finding your art, finding your beauty, and being committed to give it to the world, and the danger of not taking ourselves seriously. Yeah. So where you're at right now is the King of Pentacles. So this is a time of organization. This is a time for you to get organized. If you are going to take yourself seriously, you have to view it as an operation, as a business. So you're running an operation here. You're running a business. But it's just me. I'm just an old person with a pen and paper, right? You know who used to talk like that? Stephen King. That is a start, right? That's how it starts. But the King of Pentacles, he gets you organized with your finances, your business, making sure that your home is in order. If your company or if your organization is just you, that's still a business. There's your practice. So you have the 8 of Pentacles crossing you, and that's mastery. There is a spiritual gift that comes from simply putting the effort in to mastering something. I am learning to play the violin. I have a long way to go before I get to concert level, right? They say it can take about 18 years, right? People start at about age 5 or 6. Then they go through the conservatory, and then after about 18 years, they're ready to perform in the concert. They've done their 30,000 hours, right? So I've done about 2,500 hours. So I'm on my way, right? But I've got another 15,500 hours to go, right? Before I achieve concert level mastery, right? So 8 of Pentacles comes to you at this time to teach you that it's Rome wasn't built in a day. Learn patience. Stop worrying about the final outcome. Begin the walk, begin the mastery, begin the journey. Anything you work to master will lead to spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment by learning to play the violin, learning everything you can about the violin, learning to be a luthier, learning how to make a violin, right? People that literally crawl inside violins, they become enlightened because they become obsessed with the violin. Then there are people who, and you listen to their music like Itzhak Perlman and you feel transcended, right? So anything that you choose to master, the art of paying attention and getting into the spiritual depth of something that you are creating, that is the point at which we say you are enlightened. When you lose track of time and space, you don't know where you are. You're just completely focused on your work. That is what they want for you. What is above you at this time? I see you being able to make money from more than one place. Many of you will have multiple income sources. What you're sitting in, a lot of stress. Be careful about what you watch at this time. Be careful that you're not watching things that are stressing you out or creating more worry. Instead, give an account and a reckoning for what's going on in your life. Get yourself a $1 or $2 paper and start thinking about your goals, what your goals are for your life, what your goals are for yourself physically, spiritually, financially, career-wise. Have you started the process? So the King of Pentacles comes to help you get organized. He gives you an account. It's a banker's card, by the way. It's associated with like Capricorn and Taurus. You can see that nice bull energy coming in, the bull and the ram. The bull and the, what is Taurus? Taurus is the bull, right? So be aware of that kind of organization and grounding that's needed, and to spend a little bit more time focusing on yourself. You have moments where you get really optimistic, I'm going to do it. And then the first time that you have trouble or failure, you get discouraged. But every comedian has bombed on stage. Right? Every comedian has learned how to handle a heckler. Right? So be comfortable with bombing on stage. Be comfortable with putting up YouTube videos and have somebody say, you suck. I get that about 20 times a day, right? Sometimes it's legitimate. Some criticism is legitimate. Hey, you said Samantha Guthrie instead of Savannah. I did. Oh, I'm sorry. And sometimes it's illegitimate, where people are just being mean, right? So you will find your destiny. Continue to do. Taurus is the bull. Yeah, Aries is the ram. I should know that. I'm an Aries. What is the Capricorn? What is Capricorn? Anybody know what the Capricorn? Anyway, this is the banker, just to let you know. The goat. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so this is like Capricorn Taurus energy. And it's an earth sign. Earth is associated with pentacles. Earth, grounded. It's the goat. Okay, yeah, that would explain. I was wondering what I was looking at. That's a goat. The devil's goat. No, goats are kind of scary. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what she was drawing there because it's supposed to be a Capricorn, but it's a banker's card. The money, he's holding the coin. It's basically if that's where you're at, it's time to get your house in order. That's what winter is for. Aries is around. Yeah, I'm an Aries. So where you're at right now. Ooh, are you guys having panic attacks and like this? I know people are really upset, but you have to realize that all the horrible, terrible stuff that's coming out has already happened. Right? So we're heartbroken, like, oh my God, they did these terrible things. But now we all know. And knowledge is power, right? So as long as you stay focused on your work and on keeping your house in order, as long as you remember this reading, keep your work clean, keep your house clean and organized, be about your business, keep a hold of strong ethics regarding your work. If you're a reader, be an ethical reader. If you paint houses, be an ethical house painter. Keep your ethics in order and you will come out of this. The Knight of Cups is a diplomat. They seek to heal. I feel like this panic in my chest, like my adrenals are impacting my heart. I worry about you guys, like you have panic attacks or adrenal anxiety. I feel like the truth is coming out over the world and the truth will set us free. I think that this is going to be a rough year. I think that we're going to see the fall of Iran and Russia both. And I've talked extensively. I think that the date, this was a remote view I did. I remote viewed it down to 5 suggestions, and then the data supported it. So I went ahead and sent it off to U.S. and Israeli intelligence. But this is what I remote viewed. And so far, I've gotten it all right. I also remote viewed the rebuild of Gaza and gave that to the Israelis, which they were happy to take. And Elon Musk liked it, so he happily took it too. All right, awesome. So I think this year we're going to see the fall of both Iran and Putin. This was sent to them in 2023 at 3:53 a.m. after I'd been doing research. I've been remote viewing and then working with AI. So they have followed the 3 stages. Those were adopted by Biden. We're now doing the rebuild. And so the next phase will be the collapse of Putin. And because we have no choice because he's not going to stop. We have to stop him. And then we will see, following behind that, we will see the fall of Iran. There will be no deal. There will be no economic deal. They're not reliable trade partners. So the truth is coming out between now and the summer. We see war, Knight of Swords. That is the metal horse. That is the metal horse in Chinese astrology. But it's also associated with angry winds and violence, being in the opposition, the hope and fear, the justice card. And if you continue to master your art, and if you begin to take control of your health and master your home and master your art, it will result in economic, mental, and financial stability and will afford you many opportunities. And those of you who wish to purchase homes and property will be able to do so. If you really want a home and you're saving right now for a home, the best time for you to buy will be sometime after August of 2026. All right, that's what I have for you. I hope that helped. Anybody want to talk about it? Anybody surprised by the remotes? Anybody surprised that we're headed towards the fall? I was rooting for Russia, actually. I'm kind of sorry that this happened. But after the revelations with Epstein, Peter Thiel, all the countries, they've already collapsed. It's the only logical thing you can do, right? Okay, looks like the floor director is telling us we need to move on. We've got a blitz away, so let's go ahead and do it. These are 5-minute questions. Questions you may be asking about what's going on publicly. No private questions. I'm sorry. I know you guys want private questions. We do every Saturday for members. If you'd like, if you're thinking about being a member, and then you can get a free 5-minute reading once a week. So think about memberships. All right. A lot of people are ordering me to work. I got to get to work. All right. I also wanted to say thank you. Looks like somebody did something here. Did I miss something? Oh, yes. Sybil gave a $4.99 donation to Senior Dogs today. Thank you so much, Sybil. That's very kind. Thank you, everyone who's donated to Senior Dogs. It's lovely of you. Okay. Will bodies be found on Zorro Ranch? Oh, that's what you guys want to start with? Woo! Y'all being morbid? Woo! Morbid, morbid, morbid. My goodness. Probably yes, I would think so. There's some crazy stuff they were into. He was a truly evil man, wasn't he? Complete psychopath. Yes. There is an investigation. Investigators are requesting people go there to do some kind, because a high priestess is finding hidden knowledge. So there is a group somehow related to this that would like to have experts go and check. There were witnesses, kitchen staff that were witnesses to physical abuse. So the testimonies were from kitchen staff and employees, people that were taking care of the grounds. They may have witnessed a girl screaming. So you come in and you're just watering plants and you hear screaming somewhere like someone's being tortured. Those kinds of testimonies are testimonies that are pressuring investigators to go into Zorro Ranch and start. Well, put yourself in the shoes of the gardener. You're rolling up some hose and you start hearing a strange commotion, and you start hearing what sounds like a woman being murdered, and you get a little closer, maybe you see something, like, what the hell is going on? Maybe you make a report. That's what they're talking about. Evidence of a fighting or a conflict that broke out. So an attack, maybe a snuff film or a group of guys against girls or a girl. And then the sound is overheard by an employee. And then that testimony is given. That's what I have. It sounds like a bunch of evil, horrible people. And I really hope they all get caught and, yeah, pay their due. Yes, she's being held. I didn't get that. I come from there as the perp. I grew up here. I'm a punk from the neighborhood. That's what I got. I'm some punk from the neighborhood. I don't feel like we're some foreign government and we swept her off and took her to the bodega in Mexico. That's not what I'm getting. I'm getting that we're punks. We hang around construction, so we're always looking for trouble. So-and-so got in trouble for this, so-and-so got in trouble for that. Then we stole so-and-so's shotgun. We're those types of people. Breaking into houses they're building and running off with equipment that's been left. We got family relations in Texas, I can tell you that. We've always been in trouble. We were born trouble. Those people. That's who you're looking for. I feel that they are close to finding her and finding the people that did this. I feel that they are known. This is there were 3 guys that broke in to 2 houses a couple months prior and got away with it. They're still looking for a couple people that were involved in run-ins and break-ins in that area, including 3 defendants that were part of a break-in that took off with a van. I know because I had the remote, and then I went in and used artificial intelligence to see how close I was and located the files on past break-ins in the area. Archangel Michael is coming. You know, people get involved in drugs, too much time on their hands. They don't go to school. They don't get a job. You know, it's kind of like Okies from Muskogee, right? That you have the Dust Bowl refugees, people that are just hanging out, making trouble. It's that kind of a feeling. Well, the raid on Musk's Paris office revealed that he electronically tampered with election results for Trump. Great question, Joel. Let's see what's going on with Musk. There's another one who's corrupted, right? Him and Peter Thiel. Yes. The main thing is that the investigation revealed the degree to which he was financially invested in foreign governments, and that he was offering to sell intel to foreign governments, access and intel from foreign governments. But it was done kind of like in the open. There was nothing inherently wrong about him doing business with foreign governments. However, the degree to which he was getting people to have access and intel, you know, his opposition is the Ace of Pentacles. It was money. He was working for people to supply intel and access to the government. In his mind, he thought that this was great. You know, it's interesting that the Hierophant is in his 7th house. So he had no moral or ethical problems with this, Elon Musk. He didn't have a problem with it. All right, next question. Has the Starlink cutoff of internet access affected the Russian military? I would think so, because it looks like Mr. Elon finally acknowledges that I got it right. You argued with me, Mr. Elon, when I sent my data to you and to the Israelis. You accused me of wanting to destroy anybody that didn't agree with me. And that's not what it was. It was data. It's just data, Mr. Musk. It was just data. And now you agree with me because you know I'm right. All right, let's take a look. We had a little bit of a debate about it. Mr. Musk's main concern is hiding any evidence that shows the extent to which he was compromised at this point. And the gaslighting, boyfriend from hell. What did I do? I don't understand. Did I do something? What? What? I don't understand. Huh? What? Oh, what? This kind of 7 of Cups energy. What did I do? What did I do? Well, we've been investigating 8 of Pentacles regarding hidden business, Queen of Pentacles, rapid change. So I would say it's having a major impact on Russia. But the concern now isn't taking out Putin. The concern is keeping themselves safe. I mean, this is no way to live. He's got 30 bodyguards. Everybody's trying to assassinate him. But yeah, I would say it's definitely having an impact on Putin. Putin can't operate without Starlink assistance. It would be very difficult. The Pope scolded Johnson and Vance on the cruelty of ICE. Johnson poo-pooed it. I thought Vance was Catholic. Will Roman Catholics in America heed his words? Will it have any effect? Probably. Good God, let's take a look. That sounds crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. All right. The effect on the Catholics. Yeah, you would think you too were once strangers in the land of Egypt, right? Jesus had to escape to Egypt when he was a baby, right? There's a split. There's a split. I'm feeling a split in the Catholic Church, and that some of the Catholics are beginning to, they like Vance because Vance is Catholic, but they're having real moral, ethical problems with this. They would rather see Vance in the White House than Trump, and they feel that it will be more humane with a Catholic in the White House. That is their answer. They would like to see Vance take over. That is the feeling amongst many Catholics, and that it will be more sane. They don't want criminals in the U.S., but they want more discernment and compassion, and they feel that they'll get that if a Catholic is in the White House, so a man of faith. That's what I feel from this energy. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty interesting to put myself in the shoes of a Catholic. Yeah, I guess I would feel that way if it was Vance or this ungodly man. You know, I would be like, well, he's ungodly, but Vance is a man of Christ. He's a fellow Catholic. I'm going to hold him accountable as a member of my church. I feel like I have more power here. That's how I feel as a devout Catholic, putting myself in those shoes. I would prefer Vance. All right. Has the purge of many high-ranking Chinese military officials affected Xi's schedule of evading Taiwan? Whoa. Yeah, what the heck is going on with Xi? I mean, does he even have, I would not want to be in his shoes. You know, talk about somebody at risk of being assassinated. Wow, wow, wow. All right. There are people that want to use evidence against Xi, but it's difficult because Xi has them arrested, tried, or executed. So people are afraid to stand up against Xi because of Xi's military control. That's the impression I get. We don't need to invade Taiwan. That's not what we want is a piece of the profits from Taiwanese merchants. We want to be economically invested in Thailand or in Taiwan. We want to be economically invested in Taiwan. In exchange for not invading, we would like to put bureaucracy and economics into Taiwan because you have the Two of Wands, that's partnership. It's also the Pacific Northwest. And it's the West, it would be Taiwan. And then you have this labor, you know, the heavy loads. There is stress over Xi, him being the emperor, and then that Nine of Swords. But you also get this energy when you meditate on it that there's no damn way in hell I'm going to try and take him on because he kills his political rivals just like Putin. His opposition would be the King of Wands, which is declaring war on him. But you can see the Six of Pentacles showing mercy, and he's got this energy here, which would make it very difficult for his rivals to take him out. You know, he's got all this hidden knowledge and success, but success for him is more about partnership than an all-out war. So America takes part of Taiwan, China takes part of Taiwan, and we got this little arrangement happening. Two of Wands, I can live with that. I just want economic access. If he does that, then they will be able to get into Taiwan. The things you learn in the remote state, when you do remote viewing, you can learn some crazy stuff about people. That's why I say I've done at least 20,000 readings for people, 20, 30,000 easily in the last 30 years. And no two readings are the same because everybody is different. Everyone is completely different. We have similar experiences. We fall in love, but we are unique snowflakes. I have never seen two readings. I did a reading the other day. The woman had no aspects of the earth. Like she had no karma with the earth. I've never seen anything like it. I literally gave a reading to somebody who was like an alien. I was like, why are you even here? Why are you on earth? Like I couldn't find, it was all air. She was like she had 6 things. She was all Aquarius. I mean, it was like I was talking to a Palladian. And that's what she said. Yeah, I'm not from here. I'm like, well, why did you come here at all? I found no karma in her Akashic record. I thought it would be nice. I wanted to help. So I decided to land here and I brought my family. I was like, it was the weirdest reading. So the point is that every single person is unique. Everybody's unique. Will Mike Johnson be replaced by a Democratic leader in 2026? Let's take a look, people. What's your feeling about this? Do you feel like, I want to talk a little bit about some remote views. We'll go ahead and throw this and then I'll tell you what my remote views were and you'll be happy to hear them. Yeah, Mike Johnson is out. You guys are readers, right? Most of you. This is Mike Johnson. He's lame duck. He's lame duck and his president is lame duck, you guys. What can he do with a 4 of Swords? Nothing. Death. He doesn't have any, he has no fires in the fire. 5 of Cups, this guy's toast. He's completely confused. He's confused because he refuses to accept reality. So yes. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the remote view on this. The remote view showed the 10 of Wands. The last time that we were in session together, and you had asked me about the fact that many Republicans are not running to renew their seat. Y'all remember that? And it was something like 35 Republicans are not going to be renewing their seat. They will happily accept the check, right? Who doesn't want to get paid? But I don't have to come to work. If my studio in DC, if the lease is up in March, I'm not renewing. Packing up, leaving. This is the remote over Republicans, right? So we know we're going to get a minimum of 35 seats, right? Because Trump is now at 36%, and they say you can't come back from 42%. 42% is the tipping point. You become lame duck. Okay, so he's at 36%. A 10 of Wands is when you pack up and move. So if you're looking for a direction, and your reader can sometimes indicate you're headed to the northeast of where you're currently at, right? But overall, it's a pack up and move. I'll tell you what's going on. I felt like I had no enthusiasm about this president and his policies, and I'm not going to be running anyway. So I'm packing up and leaving early. I will probably be out of my offices by August. I could do an Airbnb for a couple of weeks. So I am not there to vote. You understand? I'm not there. I got things to do. I got places to go. I got people to meet. I'm headed back to Nebraska or California or wherever I came from. And I'm not going to stay until January 5th or whenever I'm supposed to be 7th or when is it? When are they supposed to be out of there? When is the election? When are they supposed to be out of there? The election happens sometime in November, right? 2025, the 2026 or 2026 elections, right? So they have to stay there until the transition, which is going to be sometime in January 2027, right? Let me find it for you guys. I'm not staying. It'd be January 4th, would be Monday. So if I already know I'm leaving, I can leave in August, which means, in plain English, what that means is that either we don't put any bills through now, or the Democrats are going to win everything because he's already lame duck. Because if we're only, a difference between us is 3 seats, and you have 35 people leaving, and 10 or 15 of them are leaving early because they don't want to renew their sublease or whatever, then it's nothing is going to get passed that Trump likes in the House. It's already over. So that's the point I wanted to make, because they're leaving early. They don't support him. It's a shit show. They don't support their party anymore. And and they don't have to be there. What are you going to do to me? I already quit. So come August, I can delay. I can say my kid has a soccer practice. They don't have the votes. It's already over. People are not showing up for the votes. People are already headed back to wherever they came from. You don't have to wait till January 6th for us to take the House, because we already have the House. Yeah. That's basically what they're trying to say, is before January 6th, we have January 4th, we have the House, because they're not there to vote anyway. All right. Will Russia rise up and replace Putin in 2026? Well, they better, because he's finished. Let's take a look. Great to see you all here. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. We have 1,185 beautiful souls here on YouTube, and we have about 1,000 or so over on Facebook. So we got a motley crew of all kinds of lovely people. Yes, very nice. Nice to see you all here. God bless you all. Lovely, 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 lovely indeed. Let's get to 100K, shall we? Let's make it happen. Then we'll have an excuse to treat Chuck to a trip to Europe. Yes. All right. Putin's future. Oh, there's movement. It's as if the entire world rose up against Putin. It's as if the entire world decided that they had had enough. That's what it looks like, because there's Ukraine. Economically, the money's with Ukraine. Russia cannot outspend the Western world. 6 of Pentacles, mercy. You can see this is Ukraine. The nation of the sunflower. Oh, Archangel Michael is always with Ukraine, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, Putin is, it's not going to stop until Russia collapses. So it would be wise for them to remove him, because the money is with Ukraine. He really destroyed that country. Putin is the worst thing that's ever happened to Russia. All right. Health event in February or this summer for Trump. Yeah, we're kind of worrying about him. I was very impressed. He was able to walk up all those steps on Air Force One. That's 3 flights. 1, 2, 3. I saw that. I was like, damn, buddy. For a guy with congestive heart failure, that's pretty darn good. So he's doing a little bit better than we thought. Like that he could do in Davos. He walked up 3 flights for Air Force One. I was like, damn, that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good, Trump. Let's take a look. Trump's health. He's definitely worrying about his partnerships and his legacy. He knows he's not long for this world. He definitely thinks about his legacy. He's leaving due to a health issue. Yeah. Let me find out more about this, why he left. Oh, it was his time. He's reached the karmic end of his wheel. Like it's time. 8 of Cups is to leave everything. Somebody's looking under the hood. His opposition, it's over due to an investigation. His opposition is the 8th house. That's this house here. There he is, packing up and leaving. Huh. He's going to Jersey? Why would he go to Jersey? Jersey is suck. The weather sucks right now. That's Northeast. That's his Jersey estate. Yeah, there he is. He's leaving. Huh. He's got business in Jersey. I wonder why. I can see it. He's moving Northeast. 3 of Wands would be Southeast. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. God, it must be miserable in New Jersey. Something's going on. He's got some work he's got to get done over in Jersey that he doesn't want to do. Probably unfinished business. It looks to me like he's getting his house in order. Yeah, I think it's very possible that he could leave with those cards. Geez, an 8 of Cups is your outcome? It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. Yes, I think it's very, very hard for a lot of people to accept that anybody would even want to do that to another person. It's like Epstein giving watches to all those girls because they had tracers on them. That's what you do to a dog when you put a chip on a dog so that you know if your dog's gone missing or your cat's gone missing, right? So they were dogs to him. He was tagging his dogs with those watches, those big watches, and he was putting it on. Wear your watch. You wanted to know where you were at all time. Right? So it's really sad. Treasure trove of information is being exposed about hidden men, King of Pentacles, and there's the investigation, and the final outcome will be more evidence. This will change the trajectory of the laws in Europe and the United States to remove things like age timing out. Like if something happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they'll still be able to prosecute. So the laws are going to change as a result of this. And the people that were involved will have to live with their involvement for the rest of their life. Deepak Chopra is one of the people that's been named. His career is over. There is no future for Deepak Chopra. There's no future. Woody Allen films, you can thrash those. So Kevin Spacey, these people, you just point at them, shame, shame. They have the mark of Cain on them forever. There's nothing they can do now because they have the mark of Cain on them. This 3 of Pentacles leads me to believe that we are going to be actively working on laws to change so that these people can be prosecuted years afterwards. I'm seeing real active change taking place in Europe and the United States with the court systems. Because the government failed. The FBI failed foster children. They failed these vulnerable adults. And this expose, I've always felt that that the main thing it exposes is our intelligence agencies and how our intelligence agencies were very much a part of this and allowed this to happen to U.S. citizens. I want to throw the book at the U.S. intelligence agencies, starting with the FBI. What it proves, what the investigation proves, is that our intelligence agencies were 100% involved and that they loved every minute of it. That Acosta thought it was great. They didn't have a problem with what was being done to these children. They felt it was worth it to sacrifice a few innocent children in order to get intel. But in the end, the Russians were using it to get intel on us. So in the end, who were they helping? They were helping no one. Did they protect the Americans? No. Did they protect us? Did they protect our votes? Did they protect the American people from having our government taken over by Russians? No. So they accomplished nothing other than letting children get genitally assaulted, right? And mutilated, or worse, right? So now they want to bring cadaver dogs to Zorro Ranch and I think they've already brought cadaver dogs to the island, right? Why isn't that information public? All those kids from Eastern Europe that went missing. You know, it's pretty horrible, pretty horrific. And our government loved every minute of it. Right? So we've got a lot to fix here at home. All right, Tulsi Gabbard. What is going on with Tulsi Gabbard? She's in trouble. She took money. She took a job. She's under investigation. Ten of Pentacles, dirty little family secrets. Oof. She's out in the cold. She will be abandoned due to investigations. And there's an investigation, an expose, dirty family secrets regarding a job or money, trying to get control over a situation that's coming to an end. She's she's cutting her relationship with Trump for sure with a 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, crazy. Who are these people? Yummy. I remember those. Delish, 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 delish. Black cows are with Coca-Cola and ice cream. Root beer is root beer float, and then the black cows are the ones with Coke. Some people prefer a black cow. They don't like root beer. My family preferred black cows. They didn't like root beer as much. Some people don't like the taste. I don't know. That's a good question. What do you prefer, ice cream and Coke or ice cream and root beer? Which is your favorite float, a black cow or a root beer float? Dun, 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 dun. We'll ask the audience. Okay, do we have any more questions, or are we calling it quits? Okay, we'll do one more, and then we're going to call it quits. You guys are awesome. We had such a nice crowd today. A lot of y'all came to visit. Much appreciated. Did everybody subscribe? Help me get to 100K. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's do it. This is really sad. What he's just, that was such a beautiful institution. It'll come back again, but boy, it's like having some kind of drunken pervert come and molest everybody on the cast, you know, the whole entire organization, you know, just really can't bring him to a party. Oh my God, this guy, I guess he's so badly wanted to be Kennedy, right? To be as loved as Kennedy. But instead, he's just a nut job. Did you hear about those pictures of the Obamas where he made them out to be apes in the forest and he won't apologize? This is our president. This is the president of the United States of America. Where the hell is Republican leadership? They're not even hiding what you are. You're a bunch of Confederates. This is the Confederate Army all back again, right? I just see exposure, like Empress. It's all about exposure. There's a woman coming. There's a woman coming that will heal this. I see a woman in leadership. Either a woman will be the president of the United States in 2028, and this woman is very gentle and loving, and she will come and heal. This is what I'm predicting. I see a healing woman coming that will heal what's happening at the Kennedy Center, and it will be returned back to what it was. A woman is coming. Yeah, I don't know who this woman is. If it's the president or if it's the first lady or if it's the VP. But they say a woman will come in a position of power and she will fix this. I'm so sorry, Toronto. It's going to get a lot worse in the next couple weeks. It's going to be the worst winter you've ever had. Please forgive me. I tried to warn you guys. Between the 13th and 17th, expect extremely harsh weather in that area. Sorry. Oh, God, I feel like Debbie Downer when I do remotes like that. Well, I'm just trying to keep people safe. Like, that's why I was warning you the last couple months that this winter was going to be bad, because every time I would meditate and go forward, I never saw anything like that. I never saw cold like that before, you know? What are you guys thinking about MAGA right now? Do you think that Trump has lost his MAGA base? What are you thinking? Yeah, no, maybe, sort of, on its way. Well, we know that Marjorie has left, and she's very loud and outspoken about the Epstein thing. So she's going to get behind J.D. Vance, right? Because J.D. Vance doesn't have this kind of thing in his background. They think he's compassionate. They think that J.D. Vance has something of a heart, that Trump, and that he's Catholic, that he's going to be able to bring something, dignity back to the presidency. This is how, don't argue with me. I didn't vote for the guy. My job is to tell you what it is to be the other, right? So J.D. Vance. Well, I'm going to quote Marjorie Taylor Greene. We cannot get behind this shit show. And this presidency is a shit show. We're going with Vance. Because he's a man, he's a Christian, and because Tuawan's my partnership and the healing of Christ, there is the loaves and fishes, right? So the healing left Trump, and we're going to Vance. This is Vance's card, by the way. They trust him. They trust Vance. So what do you think about that? So Vance has really, do you think that it's an accident that as Trump tanks, let's talk about that. Do you think it's a sheer accident that as Trump tanks in the polls, Vance is rising as the great savior and Christian savior who's the knight in shining armor that's going to come and fix all this? I think it's completely intentional. And I think that it has to do with the marketing. And I think that they're intentionally trying to get rid of Trump and bring Vance in. That's what it looks like to me as a remote viewer. Yeah, I think that it's now active, and they can make it out like we were fooled, but we're not fooled by Vance. Vance is our salvation, right? So that you kind of have to look at it like that. Yeah, it's going into that fear we talked about, where anger will collapse into fear, and now we're there with the fear. So it started off as denial, right? Then anger, then bargaining and fear, right? So we're kind of there now. All right, you guys, I had a really lovely brunch, and you were an absolute delight to spend it with. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Yes, I found it rather delightful. All right, so if you would like to have a reading with me, you can book me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, through Booksy. I do medical intuitive work, tarot readings, remote viewing. If you need to have a session with me, get your diet and your life in order, then I would love to work with you. I wonder if I can get a link here somewhere. Anybody got my link? Dr. Whimsy. I'll give you guys my link if you guys want to reach out to me. I see patients Monday through Friday through telehealth and telemedicine. And then we build treatment plans. And I also do tarot reading through the phone. All right. That's all we have for you, my gentle people. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for everything, you guys. All right. Chuck and I'll see you on Tuesday. All right. Be well. Bye-bye.